Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How are you doing? It's Russ here from Poker's Corner, the biggest gob in sport. We say the things on here that nobody dare say. I'm joined by Ian. How are you doing, Ian?
Good morning, Russ. I'm doing well, sir. Yeah, looking
What
forward to it this morning.
What did you think to talk sport, having it a draw and calling it like the saying it were like the Four Kings when they were stepping up weight and all that in the 80s? What do you think to that?
Daggered. I mean, what I did last night, Russ, because I've been so worried about Chris Junior's health. My most important goal was he came home to his family safe. So I sat with my son and watched it, and we both independently scored it. He scored it a little closer than I did, but no way in the world was that a draw.
I think people need to see the Conor Ben press conference after. The woman who asked the question, I think it's the third or second question, was totally embarrassing. It's all favoritism who were asking the questions after, all orchestrated. They just embarrassed themselves because they went at it, but very, very, well, I've watched it again, very low level, right? Missing, timing out, and it was just like two men having a fight in Witherspoons. But we were entertained, and that's what we got. But they're not British level. Aaron McKenna had light the pair of them up or boxed their ears off.
Thing was, Russ, it was good entertainment the whole evening, and I'll be honest with you, I think it was value for 20 quid. But here comes the big but. Um, Eddie Hearn has done and Matchroom everything in their powers to derail Chris Eubank Jr. All right, everything, ring size, rehydration. Um, I thought his father um, when they panned the camera, getting out of the vehicle, that really lifted everyone's spirits. I saw the young man looked happier that he got his dad with him as a bit of protection because he's been running this on his own. And the other masterstroke I thought was from Napa, his manager, who's massive and he looks like he's eating Joe Joyce. He wouldn't let Billy Joe's sausages in there to check the hand wraps, and I thought that was a masterful bit of skill. When I first saw Chris Senior, I thought it was one of those blooming lookalikes because I don't know what all that was about.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. I don't
But
know,
to
mate. What
your
do you
question,
think
yeah,
about it?
it was poor quality fight, but I've got to take my hat off. Ben give it a go, and he left it all in the ring. But he most definitely didn't get a draw.
No, no. I had it 115, 113, and that I was trying to be generous and not biased because trying to because he did fight as to his level, right? Crusher Ben, if he fought Aaron McKenna, wouldn't it wouldn't be like that. But they give him every advantage with these rehydration things, his ring and the gloves and all everything around him. But I thought the referee were a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what to make at referee, but I'm not going to be critical about him. But
But to be
well,
fair, I can't be
yeah,
critical.
well,
I
man.
don't. Yeah, I didn't think he did. He was that great.
Yeah, he kept
I,
getting involved all the time, didn't he? I ran Eubanks' case a bit, but Ben fought his heart out to his ability. That's the bottom line. They got paid because of who the dads are. But all this lick feastness, that press conference, I had to turn it off after that woman's question at the beginning. It were absolute. I've watched 6 minutes at press conference. It's the worst after press conference, afterwards press conference I've ever seen in my life with selected journalists asking them sort of questions. It was just where I could tell my children where I was on the day. Look, they're not world title men, right? The two kids having a fight. One's shot to pieces, Eubank. Other ones have never been, and they're getting paid millions. That's the bottom line. Forget all this Gordon Ramsay and all this and Hype and Beckham and Ed Sheeran and all that. It's just to add glamour. It's like wrestling. The bottom line is the fight. They got stuck in, but their abilities are low, low. It was like Beefy Smith fighting Aaron McKenna, to be honest, wasn't it, really?
well, I just that was another fight. I was shocked. I mean, um, uh, we both said, didn't we, that he was going to lose, but he lost in big style.
Yeah. But it is what it is. But I don't know about all this Eddie at press conference saying he's now the people's champion. He were booed.
Oh, do me a favour, Eddie. I mean, every time his lips moved, lies come out. I mean, Russ, on a serious note here, if that kid didn't have such good body conditioning, he could have been on a slab yesterday, and then there'd have been an inquiry, and then Matchroom could have been walked into court. Because I mean, I don't want to see the fight again personally. I'll be honest with you. That lad nearly died trying to get down to the 160. So, I mean, forget the other problem he had where they limited his rehydration. Um, he just looked emaciated, didn't he? And
Yeah,
how
yeah.
and he'd
Eubank, they did everything they could to take him out in his stride, didn't they?
all day, yeah, 100%. They did everything. How they sleep at nights, I do not know. But
Well,
to be fair to them, but rough, the pair of them, they put a shift in, and that's
yeah,
it.
they put a shift in, but if Ben would have won, it means the establishment would have took over, won it. So Eubank had to get the decision. He had to get it, mate. He had to, for the sake of boxing, mate. Because if he didn't, where would that leave the sport? Where would it leave it?
Well, this is the problem I had last night because obviously I'm singing from your hymn sheet, and I was trying not to, but I think I might have popped another round or two in Eubank's favour because I just didn't want Ben to win the fight. I mean, it would have been a travesty. So good for boxing. We got our 20 quid's worth. They've both gone home safe. They've both got a shed load of dough. But are we honestly saying that we want to see it again? I mean, I was on DAZN and Tony Bellew. I mean, if you heard what he said after the fight,
Crying after Wonnie Bellew.
oh, he was saying it was one of the greatest fights he's ever seen. Do me a favour.
Awful, mate. Awful. At least English turned up, didn't he? But they were always going to turn up, wasn't it?
Well, I didn't know whether they were playing mind games or Karen Eubank had got on the phone, Chris's mum, and just said, "Look, get up there. Your boy needs you. He's on his own," because they were ganging up on him. Or Uncle Turkey got the checkbook out. Now that's a bit cynical of me. I probably shouldn't say that, but that's where I sit with it. Or he did it because he just couldn't not be with his son. But I felt the mood change when he was with him, and that boy looked gaunt, but he looked like he started to smile when his dad was standing next to him. And to a degree, he left him alone, didn't he? He did walk into one of the rounds in the corner, but I was so pleased he was there. I mean, I'd give a year of my life to have a day with my dad, and I think that was the right thing to do. Whatever people think of his dad.
Agree. What about Kell Brook? They're talking Kell Brook, Ben, aren't they? What's all that about?
Oh, please, Russ. What they're going to do now? Is it because Matchroom haven't got a stable? Is this where we are now?
I know. Arctic Ring 14 months. That's his own doing, though, isn't it, Ben?
Well, of course, but once again, they built him up. They've marketed him to be this new superstar, and he hasn't cut his teeth. And I just don't think he's good enough. I really don't. I mean, if he goes down in weight, as it talking about boot tennis, I mean, it'd be over in about 6 minutes. And if he stays at middleweight, as you said in the opening gambit there, that young Aaron McKenna would light him up and put him on button moon.
Yeah. I agree, mate. I agree. What did you think to talk sport afterwards? Steve Collins, Jug Ears, The Gad, and Adam Cocksucker Cattrall. What did you think to their comments? Hey.
Is that his name? Right, you're going to have to help me here, Russ, because I didn't get any of the talk sport stuff afterwards. So I've literally
Well, they
got
all
up.
had it a draw, didn't they? Because they're all sat on fence, aren't they?
Well, they've had it a draw again.
Gareth A. Davis said it reminded him of a throwback fight to the 80s where the four kings were all stepping up and that. Well, Agler never stepped up in weight, the others did, but it wasn't at a level of the four kings. So, Gareth A. Davis, you are a hype job and a cocksucker. You're embarrassing.
What is he putting that Tommy Hearns and Hagler fight on in the same breath?
Yeah, yeah. Go watch the talk sport afterwards. Steve Collins there noshing them all off as well, hanging around for crumbs and crusts.
Well, yeah, you mentioned the other day. His boys coming through the ranks. They're all there. They're all trying to earn a pound note, which you can't blame them, can you? But can we just have a little bit of honesty and
Yeah.
integrity?
Well,
League,
what kind of Ben on juice though? We don't know, do we? But why were he training in Spain for this one? It's first camp he's had abroad, isn't it?
this is the whole problem. See,
He's
the
gone
moment
cross-eyed as well, Conor Ben. When you look at him, he looks cross-eyed.
he looked scared yesterday, I just think it suddenly dawned on him what was going on when he did the ring walk. I mean, I thought his old man was going to take over. Put the gloves on.
Oh no. He looked like Nucky Bear, didn't he, Conor Ben? Is that cross-eyed?
He
But it is
looks.
what it is. Listen, this is how I look at it, right? They've had it off. They've had it off, all of them. But is this what we're going to be getting now? Because this country at the moment, in the male UK fighters, we've got Daniel Dubois. He got his belt by email, and Nick Ball. They're our world champions, and this is what we're left with now. These like gimmick fights, Ben Eubank and the lazy rhino against Elmer Fudd. This is where we're at now. For Eddie Hills, this is the level he's at now. And don't put Joshua near anybody in case he gets beat. So that's what we're up against at the moment.
Well, I think what Eddie's doing is he's trying to get a quick fix and go straight to the top. You've got to admire Bricktop. He gets them from young kids. He match makes them correctly, puts them on small hall shows, and he builds their careers. So when
Yeah.
we see them, and then the purist and the social boxer watches it, you're seeing someone that can show you the skills and the ring craft of pure boxing. But what we're seeing is like this misfit stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, it
Where
wouldn't.
was the power though, Ian? Where was the power, the 3 round demolition job? Where were the power?
Well, he
Inactivity or taking PEDs more like.
Well, he couldn't knock him over. And Chris Eubank Jr., you could see that he didn't have any strength in him. I mean, I've got so much respect how he dug deep. He was empty. And I think when you go back to the Groves fights, when he fought him in the Super Six, was it, or whatever, those punches were jarring, but they were just sort of bouncing off Ben because he had no strength in him. But I'm going to say it again, they both hung in there, um, and more importantly, they've both gone home to their families and they've got some serious dough. But where does Ben go from now? If he goes down in weight, how much is he going to earn? And he's going to look a fool. I'm almost certain he's just going to get blown away.
Last knockout Ben had was 3 years ago. He
Was
hadn't
that
had
that?
a knockout for over 3 years, beginning of April 2022. He's had 2 fights at 154, one at one, and this one here, and at 160, although he come in at just under 157, and he's not stopped anybody. This is how I look at it, right? That press conference after, Eddie's going on about a 147 guy in with a super middle and all that. Let me just say this. Eubank came in, didn't he, at 160 and 89 grams over that, and they wouldn't let him rehydrate. They had the ring in the ring size in there, the bandages, the gloves, everything was stacked against him, and he couldn't get him out there. Didn't even
Wouldn't
drop
let him
him.
have a pee, Russ. They wouldn't even let him have a pee, which would have been enough to bring him down.
Eddie said they were going to smash Eubank to bits. It didn't happen, did it? It's
No,
all hype job, and do you know what bothers me? They're all hugging and kissing after. Well, where were the intense beef? Yeah.
there's no intense
And they're
beef.
saying Turkey's booked the Spurs stadium for the rematch now. That's what Eddie said.
Oh no, we're not going to go again, are we?
Yeah.
Do you want to see it again?
Uh, I did last night, but now I've thought about it. Now I've had some kip. No, because they're not going to get any better, are they, really?
Well, are we going to see Chris Eubank at his best for his age? Yes or no?
No, he's in decline. He's a fighter in decline like Liam Smith. Their goose has cooked. And you could probably, if they had a 160 and let him rehydrate to the proper weight, I don't really see Ben doing out if they do that with Eubank. But then again, Eubank's just going to get older, isn't it? All they do is, all they're going to want now is money. They're not bothered about belts, these people. They're not world champions. They're bothered about money.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the Ferraris a couple of days ago. Did you see the? They actually went to his house and put a drone up. Did you see that?
My
And
God. What
they left.
crushers?
Yeah,
I haven't seen that.
yeah. They put when he left. He's got this big sort of gaff in Essex, and I thought, what are you doing? You know, you make out you're one of the people. You shouldn't do things like.
Well, Eddie said he's the people's champion and like the man in the street, but when they're putting drones up above your house, it's shocking, isn't it?
Well, they're just trying to portray an image. The moment he failed those two drugs tests, his career was done. That's it. And then all they've tried to do is paste over the cracks. And they've tried to make this the. I mean, they've marketed it so well. I mean, they've spent millions on adverts and everything. But unfortunately, what we got served up was a cold platter, really. But two guys that put a shift in, and I keep saying the same things, but they gave us some entertainment. But it's not the sort of boxing that I get massive enjoyment from.
No, no, no. But for the level it was, that were like English level, wasn't it, really?
I
It
agree.
was a swing up between two men that are area stroke English level.
I still think Eubanks a better boxer than him.
Egg Benedict were crying in his dad's arms after, in shock, wasn't he, really? But like I said, if he'd have got that decision, it'd have been very, very bad for boxing.
I think the aftermath would have been appalling. I mean, they've all, I mean, the crowd, as you say, I waited intently to see if he was going to get booed, and he did get some boos. I mean, there was a mixed reaction from the crowd, but at the moment it was over, the commentators are saying, we've got to get this on again, we've got to get this on again. And I'm thinking, what, you want to boil that kid down to 160 again?
It'll be different next time because they'll have to go to Eubank and there'll be stipulations, and Eubanks will probably stand firm next time. They can't do that to the kid next time, can they? Eddie's
Well,
got to go cap in hand and he's out at Eubanks. But Eddie's come out at presser and said that Turkey's booked Spurs ground again for rematch. So this is where we're at now in British boxing. These are the people that are carrying the sport. A shot
but
fighter and a two-time drug cheat, old Eggs Benedict. You know what I
but
mean?
yeah, but there was some positivity from yesterday. I mean, Vidal Riley, he
Reed
looks.
O'Reilly won on points. I were impressed by him. He beat Virgil Hunter's fighter, and let's have it right. What Virgil Hunter? What is he doing to fighters? Him, Amir Khan, he never won a world title fight with him. Angulo, he got him smashed up. Got Boazzi beat, and now Clark beat. I mean, go to Virgil Hunter.
Well, he's living out. He's living off of who did he? Who was his biggest success?
Andre Ward,
Dre Ward. Yeah, that's about it.
the Stinkinator.
And then we've got Aaron McKenna. Oh, I really enjoyed watching that boy
Yeah,
last
I
night.
did. They're not. Ben and Eubank are not going to call that kid out, are they? The Irish kid, Aaron McKenna, because he'll just pop, bang them all night, won't he? Like Big John Fury, big fighting man that don't fight.
He could stand there with his hands behind his back, and he wouldn't be able to hit him. He
Yeah,
sidesteps.
I
Great,
know.
lovely footwork. And I thought Lyndon Arthur put a shift in as well.
What about Joe McAnally, Beefy Smith's trainer? Go to Joe McAnally. He's the best, the Dark Lord, the new Dark Lord. And Swifty Smith. Go to Swifty Smith. I want he the next big thing. There was silence in their corner after round two. And
Yeah,
poor Smig with his giant tits. What happened to them? And Big Jew said, Dad, where were all advice in corner?
or the writing was on the wall on the wall within the first
You were
three
just
minutes.
there for that 50 bags and get your sends out at sport. Ladies and gentlemen, the Smiths, the Beatles of boxing. You know what I
He,
mean? It was embarrassing, wasn't it?
yeah,
Shot fighters. Like who did I say winning that fight? I said McKenna, didn't I? He's
yeah,
just pressure. And sometimes you just get old overnight. Beefy Smith on his ring walk to fight Eubank at rematch. He got old. He got old in that camp. That's the bottom line, but nobody wants to talk about that. They just want to dig these people up and give and get paydays, but it is what it is, isn't it? Do you know what I
But
mean? We
I'll
know
give it.
where it's like I had an argument with my mate over it just now, and I said, "Listen, steady on, John. We're not making a fucking western. At the end of the day, it's a boxing fight, right? But they're not elite fighters." Puppy Parsons saying it. It's two elite fighters going at it, and Bellew as well. They're embarrassing. It's all a big lick feast. That's all it is, a lick feast. We've got a two-time drug cheat. And everybody's forgetting this. They're all poor Crusher Ben stepping up from 147 fighting a 168. No, 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 no. He's been a 154 for 3 years and he's stepping up £6 and they drained that guy down and not letting
Uh,
the guy drain. They did everything in the power to nick a win and it backfired. Do we want to see it again? Well, they're going to do it again, aren't they? But you're talking Kell Brook as well. If not, if they can't get the Ben Eubank fight on, but his goose has cooked as well. You know what I mean? Like Algeria and all them other guys he's fought. They're only fighting old shot fighters.
well, didn't Algieri come out of doing commentary, fought Ben, and then went back?
18 months sat on his arse and then they dug him up for Crusher.
Well, I just think Cole Brook's got enough. Kell Brook's got enough going on in his life to put the gloves back on.
Yeah.
Surely, surely he won't come back, Russ.
Now, okay, Billy Joe Sausages, Eubanks old man ordered the security. Don't let him in here to examine the bandages. He went running back to matchroom lot. They sent somebody else down and they still told him to F off. So I'm glad English, the old man English, turned up really because it adds a bit of glamour, doesn't it? But he did make it about himself on ring walk, didn't he? English.
Well, he did, but he's needed his dad there, Russ. I think he's been battling this on his own, and he needed his dad there, and I was pleased to see him. And
Did
you know, all the
yeah.
I watched the camera. They panned it into the prep room, and Nigel Benny. I don't know whether he was sort of happy or sad to see him there, but there was definitely a mood change when the car door opened. It caught me off my guard. Actually, that was very clever. Yeah, and I was pleased. He's not everyone's cup of tea, Russ, but it was the
Yeah.
right thing to do.
What do you think to Ben's Jim will fix it chain?
Well, you make me laugh because you say something about onside or offside, whatever it is, on site. Sorry, it's generational for me. Yeah, he thinks he's a gangster, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah. The stadium fight, though, I'm hearing it will be in September. Should really be for Tyson and AJ, not Ben and Eubank. They'll put Ben and Eubank on undercard of that massive fight, won't they?
That's not. Yeah, yeah. That they can't headline again, surely. But like I say, I'm actually quite surprised you're saying they're even talking about doing it already.
Well, I watched Presser Anna afterwards, but uh, they keep going on about, yeah, we're out the ring, bro, 14 months. Well, Eubank were out the ring 19 months and he were weight drained and he's pushing 36. You know what I mean? Nobody's saying no about that. You know what I mean?
I have the utmost respect for that boy. How he hung in there last night and did through that many punches was testament to his fitness levels and his determination.
Yeah, yeah, I
Uh,
agree. I agree with you, mate. I agree with you. But
my favourite
well,
moment for us was Eddie Hearn's face because he was standing right in camera when the result was announced, and he just looked like he'd been slapped in the face with a big haddock.
yeah. What about Crusher Bennett, the presser, saying, "Yeah, Eubank's gone to hospital. I broke his jaw." What do you make of that? He looked all right to me. It didn't look to me like he had a broken jaw.
He said he's I don't know. I mean, what do you believe now? He said he's had some difficult things to deal with in the weeks running up to the fight, which I don't want to talk about now. Now I don't know what he meant by that, but there's obviously something's going on in the family.
What about Gordon Ramsay on social media offering Crusher Ben and his family a free meal at his restaurant? What is all that about?
If we go to the Savoy Grill for lunch today, oh,
Hey, what was all that? It was just plain old embarrassing.
did
Anyway,
know.
Joe McAnally, he's got Josh Taylor, right? Will
Yeah,
Josh Taylor jog him on now because that beefy corner performance were embarrassing, wasn't it, really?
watch this space, innit?
Did you think?
Yeah, fragile sport boxing, isn't it? I don't know. Today's news is tomorrow chip. They're all worried about. They all want to stay on side for this Turkey money.
Well, people are saying Joshua and AJ is a done deal for Tottenham ground in September. That's the word around the campfire. So if Joshua and AJ fight in September, you could see Turkey putting Ben and Eubank on as chief support, couldn't you? Because there'll be that much money to go around, they'll get paid again, but maybe not as much as they got last night. But that's how I can see it happening. But if not, they'll put Brook in with Ben, won't they? You know what I mean? Because Eubank could probably want a headline money. You think?
Yeah, but is that going to get people interested?
I don't know. Do you think Eubank will fight Canelo next and go for some money there?
I've got a feeling that he won't go back in the ring again. I think
Yeah.
he's done. Yeah, I mean, I just think
What, you don't think Eubank will fight again?
personally, I don't think so. No, but then you just thrown me this morning by saying that you've heard through the grapevine that they're trying to put the second. I don't think he'll go any higher standard than Ben. I
Well,
think.
Turkey's booked Spurs for September, right? But the word around the campfire is it's going to be Tyson and AJ for September. So if he's already booked it anyway, they'll put Ben and Eubank rematch on undercard as chief support. I personally think that's what they do, but I don't want to hear all this. Oh, he's been out of the ring 14 months. Eubank were out 19 months and he's weight drained. Do you know what I mean? But what about Froch coming out saying it's on his channel? It's wrong this fight and it's dangerous. But why didn't he mention that to Crusher Ben in the interview that this fight's dangerous and it's wrong? Why didn't you say that, Carl, when you had your chance?
Well, this is what we were saying yesterday. I'm just wondering now if he's started to look in the mirror and he's thinking, and there's been some pretty. I mean, did you read some of the comments on his page? I
I've
mean,
read them, mate. I don't comment on people's channels, but I've read them
you,
myself,
yeah,
and it's
you got mentioned
embarrassing.
a lot. You got mentioned a lot. There was, I think, I run through about between 10 and 20 comments where they said, "You wait till Porky sees this." Da, 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 da.
Yeah, I've seen people were sending me screenshots of that, and it's nice that because everybody knows that he ripped off half my gags, but I'm not really bothered about that. I was quite proud actually because it shows that he watches my channel. But look, it is what it is, isn't it? But
He said he declined a ringside seat, and just maybe he is starting to think now that he's got to start to say it as it is. I really hope he does. I'm going to give him a. I'm going to throw him a bone, Russ.
okay, well, listen, let's run through this rest of this and just give me a quick 1 minute answers because we've got like 10 minutes, right? Sky have let Bombay Dave go and they've replaced him with go to Adam Booth. They went to Adam Booth, the Dark Lord, and got rid of Bombay Dave. So that just shows you what happens in boxing. Do I feel sorry for Bombay Dave? Not really, because he's a kiss ass, isn't it? But it's that's what happens, isn't it? You know, he's an Eddie man, and Ben Shalom don't like Eddie, and blah blah blah, and he got personal, didn't he, with Ben Whittaker? And I didn't really do anything wrong, but every now and then there's a bit of karma in boxing, isn't it? So he's been replaced by Adam Booth, who can't stand Bombay Dave, by the way, absolutely can't stand him. So. What Adam Booth a good pundit? I thought he were all right. To be honest, they're playing game, aren't they? They played the game after, didn't they? But what do
Yeah,
you
well,
think of that?
I was obviously with the zone, so I've got Barker who just sees everything.
Oh, Darren Lickas Barker.
Frampton was good.
Yeah, but I hadn't seen the DAZN one. I had Sky. She got a Sky one as a surprise for me because them streams crash, don't they? But it is what it is. Hugging and kissing after Ben and Eubank. I'm not buying into all that. But if they fight again, they'll be fake. There'll be intense beef. The
What
Sky Viewers cards, they mean nothing, do they? Don't they really?
did the fighters kiss and cuddle afterwards, or was it just the
No,
dads?
all of them did, didn't
Oh,
they?
okay.
Yeah, they're all mates and all that. He's got respect and all that and all this nonsense. And look, at the end of the day, mate, Where would the intents be? What do you think to that kiss ass Doug Fisher from Ring Magazine? Hanging out the back of Turkey, him and he.
It's just they're all lining them all up. I tell you what, I did notice, Russ. Going through the early fights, I saw Barry Hearn.
Hugging Turkey.
Yeah, he
But
stepped in.
Bricktop's fell out with Turkey, hasn't he?
Well, he has, but he did make an appearance three-quarters way through the bill. Did you see
Yeah,
him?
but they didn't have a seat for him and who we were with, did they? They had to go to Turkey and said, where am I sitting here? There was no seat for him, was the Bricktop?
Oh, is that the reason then?
Yeah, that's the word I'm hearing. Kids pop, pop, bang on that one, old Dinted.
Oh,
So, look, end of the day, old Dinted falls out with everybody, doesn't he?
he falls out with himself.
Yeah, let's just go quick. We want to get to nitty gritty at end here, but I just want to go through these here. Yard Arthur. There were no knockouts, obviously, on this show. Everybody won on points. What do you make of Yard Arthur? I think Yard's goose has cooked and Arthur's. What do you think? Old men?
I agree.
Looked old, didn't they, really?
Yeah, he's gone. Done.
We spoke about Clark Riley. What about Chris Billham Smith Glanton? What do you think to that?
Yeah, he dug in, didn't he? Bit down on the gum shield. He got the win, but he's another one that takes an awful lot of shots, doesn't he, to get to win a fight? So where are we going with him? He's a nice lad, though, and I thought he was brave, but he did take some clumps, but he deserved to win.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look. Trish Dixon and Donald McRae had the press passes took off them. They're old school journals, aren't they? Boxing journals. They had the press passes took off them because they did an article regarding Turkey's regime and what he gets up to behind the scenes. I sent you it. Did you read it?
Yep.
What did you think? He's a bad guy, Turkey, isn't he?
Well, the problem is it him who has taken the press pass away, or part of his team? Do you think?
Well,
Do you
it
think
won't be Turkey personally. He'll have ordered it, won't he? Because you're not allowed to speak out about him. That guy on Twitter got 19 years for talking about Turkey in Saudi, and he's in a Saudi jail, isn't he?
they got different rules out there? I mean, I actually have got a lot of time for Trish Dixon. He's written two or three, well, more than that, some really good books. There's one book called Damage, which is the untold story of brain trauma. And there's another one that's been out some time, The Road to Nowhere, where he went around America in a bus, meeting up with all some of the old fighters that have fallen on hard times. And it's a terrific read. You can pick it up for a few bob on Amazon. But yeah, I'm surprised with that because
You read the article, didn't you, Ian?
I haven't read it all, Russ. To be fair, I
Oh,
haven't.
yeah.
No.
Well, people should read that article by Trish Dixon and Donald McRae regarding the real Turkey. Nobody's allowed to speak. We're living in a crazy world at the moment. Uh, that's how I look at it. Uh, it is what it is, but very disappointing from Eddie Hills. But Crusher Benway's Jim will fix it chain on were embarrassing. But what can you do? Dazone's hard to sub to, isn't it? A lot of people complaining to me in emails and comment section about Dazone about last few months. So they need to sort that out, I think.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
know. I've got an account with them. I do the annual payment thing. So all I did was just went onto my phone and then opened it. I don't know whether you can just buy it if you haven't got all your bank details logged into their account. But
yeah.
it for me, it was fine. I just literally uh, clicked the link and given me 20 quid. But yeah, I did hear that there's been some problems. To be fair, I'm not a great lover of watching the Sky boxing commentary. So now that Frampton's moved over to the zone, I'm sort of staying there. But unfortunately, when you've got Frampton, you've got Barker.
Yeah. Barker, Darren Barker. Oh my God, married into Matchroom, didn't
Yeah, well, he's once again, he says that. I don't know. I think they've, I mean, the greats, Ian Dark, why didn't they get him back on?
he? They're
He's
not going to put them sort of guys on. They want Eddie wants people they can control, like Puppy Parsons and Coogan and them turning up in Mercedes Vitos with rest of YouTubers all chauffeured about and that because they're there to ask the questions. The press conference at the end was staged. No, all it was were a lick piece. There was nobody there putting it on them. Nobody's mentioning drug testing. Not one person's mentioned clomiphene whatsoever. Or you got your comeuppance, Connor, and all that. Nobody wants to mention it. It's like a taboo. So it's the elephant in the room that nobody mentions. Not even Frotch. Frotch said, "Yeah, well, we'll talk about the elephant in the room." Then he says, "What's your favourite tattoo?"
Unfortunately, that was a disaster, wasn't it?
A disaster. Well, it's a dangerous fight and it shouldn't happen. Well, you had your chance to ask Connor that, didn't you? So it's no good coming out after the fact, is it? And saying it. Embarrassing. But what can you do? Right, listen, I'm going to get off because I've got Big Macs on out of a
Yeah.
breadcrumb.
Well, thanks for inviting me back on,
Listen,
Russ.
Ian, you're a gentleman. Next time you come on, you can tell me the famous snooker player story and Barry Hearns. All right, mate?
And I've got one about uh,
J-
uh, John
John
Morris.
Morris
Yeah, I'll do that with pleasure.
from Border Control. Just make a mental note of that for next time, Ian. All right, mate?
Will do, mate. Listen, have a
Take
good day.
care. Have a great Sunday, and Liverpool win the league today.
Oh, good luck with that.
Cheers, mate.
Ta-da, buddy. See you,
Right.
mate.
Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Go on, booyaka.